This video is designed to help you with assessment task number 1, which is the workbook portfolio of activities. There's some information that you should read through, instructions, and the first activity is a competitor analysis. Note that there's a separate YouTube video that explains how to do the strategic clock analysis. First of all, make sure you read all the information here, and you'll need to research some websites: Student Flights, Flight Centre, Hello World, and German Australian Travel, and the web addresses are included here. There's a note about comparing prices as well. The first step is to do some research and rate each of the different companies according to some criteria. This is also explained in the strategic clock video. So you can change this criteria if you want to, you can add, you can take away, you can change them completely, it's up to you, but you want probably 5 to 6 different criteria. And then you rate 1 being very low or very poor, and 5 being great or outstanding or high. You'll come up with a total that will guide you in terms of using the strategic clock. So once again, look at the strategic clock video to learn how to plot different organisations. So for this activity, step 3, you'll be plotting the websites listed up here, which are Student Flights, Flight Centre, Hello World, and German Australian Travel. I'm scrolling down. Once you've done that, in step 4 you're going to do a little bit of analysis and explanation. So first of all, you're going to decide on a company to discuss. So pick one of the companies that you've assessed. It can be any one, but just pick one. Next, you need to name a new capability that they should implement. You only need to name one new capability, and the capability list is up on page 2. So these are the capabilities you can select from. So if you select that they need better communication, you'll need to explain what you mean. For example, do they need more pricing information? And same with online customer service. If you decide they need better customer service, you need to explain what you mean. For example, you might be suggesting they have a 24-hour chat line or something, but just explain yourself there. So pick one of those capabilities and explain it. And that's what you're doing to answer question 2 here in step 4. Number 3 is how will this new capability affect the firm's position on the strategic clock and the industry as well. So if they were to implement this new capability, you would be discussing where they might move on the strategic clock. So for example, if they were in the suicide zone, they might move up to a niche position, over to differentiation, maybe low price. You just need to explain what the new capability will do, and also the effect on the industry. So for example, if most of the firms are clustered up the top and then another firm joins them there, what's going to happen? Well, for example, it's going to get a lot more competitive. So you need to discuss that, and again, not in too many words. So it can be less than 300. You don't have to make it to 300 words. For example, there's usually only one sentence to answer question 2. Question 3 is usually about a paragraph. Number 4 is to then explain a company who can help them implement the new capability. So you need to research this online and come up with the name of a company and their web address. So for example, if you've suggested a 24-hour chat line, you might research and find a company who actually can implement that. So this shouldn't be a competitor, it should be a company that specialises in e-commerce or web design or something like that. So that's assessment task 1. Moving down to assessment task number 2, there's a bunch of information to help you here because we don't have a textbook, so that's for your knowledge. You can just read through that. I'm just scrolling. And then you're going to fill out this table. Now the thing about this table is it's going to focus on the model. It's not focusing on a company. So you need to select at least 2 e-business models from this list here. Place one here. Let's say my first choice is Aggregator. And let's say my next choice is e-auction over here. And then I just answer these questions here, or these topics about each model. So here you're researching and learning about different e-business models or e-commerce models. So the first thing you do is describe the model. So if someone has no idea what an aggregator is, in a 1 or 2 sentences you're explaining what that sort of model is. Same with an e-auction. So for an e-auction you might say that it's a new take on the traditional traditional auction model, that it's an auction that occurs online, whatever words you'd like to briefly describe what an e-auction is. Then you're going to say what the type of model is. So is an aggregator a business to business? Is it a B2C? Is it a C2C or a C2B, customer to business? So you just decide, and it may be more than one. So here you might just go B2B and C2C for argument's sake here. And you do the same with e-auction. So one column is all about aggregator, the other, in my example, is all about e-auction. From here, you're then going to come up with a company, an example of a company that uses this business model. So again, this question is about business models. It's not about a company. But for example, if someone didn't understand what an aggregator was, you could say, well, for an example, an aggregator company could be Webjet, who bring in a lot of information and help the customer to understand their different options. So you want a real life example of a company using the model. E-auction, probably a common example might be eBay. Now, let's say, for example, you think, this sounds like a pretty good business. I wonder or a good model. I wonder what the strengths and weaknesses are. So this is about you researching and just thinking about what's good about this type of model, or this model over here, and what's weak about it. So a strength of aggregator might be it's a really simple and convenient way to compare a lot of different companies or products. E-auction, it might be very convenient because you don't have to go to an auction house to make a bid. Weaknesses, you just again need to think of 3 weaknesses about each model. The revenue model type is listed up here. So there's different sorts of revenue models explained here, and you just need to name which revenue model might apply to each of these different models that you've chosen. And then, are there any special implications? So for example, if they take a commission, like a small commission on every sale, you're going to need to get a lot of volume in order to make money using this e-business model. So it's just about any special revenue or cost things that might apply. And again, it's only going to be a short answer, a sentence at best. Then the next question is on legal. So say, for example, we decide, maybe we should go into business and do this aggregator model. What would be some legal issues we'd have to think about? What laws might apply? What laws might we break? So here you need to research some actual acts. So one example is not using e-business, but if I was going to open a chicken shop that sells chicken and I need to prepare the chicken, I would have to comply with the Food Safety Act of 2008. That would be a major legal obligation that I'd have to follow. So here you're just listing the major laws. And under ethical is also anything dodgy that someone could do wrong using that model, or immoral, or just not very nice. So if you need ideas, you can Google unethical business practices. But for example, things could be overcharging customers, selling things that don't work, so when the customer receives it, it's broken, and those sorts of things, or secretly overcharging on transaction fees so you earn a lot of money. So all you need to do, just pick 2 models there and just explain them. Sorry, I'll just highlight. So pick any 2 models, 1 in each column, and just go down and briefly explain. And again, just emphasizing your answer needs to be brief. I'll leave this explanation here and explain activity 3 in the next video.